This is your Irontrader, and this is the last call of the day. So we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. Take a look at the old indexes. Now, the Dow is up 458, Nasdaq's up 268, and the S&P is up 65. Okay, at the end of the video, the support and resistance levels are posted for crude and natural gas. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, so let's talk about ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have Bitcoin, your daily and your weekly chart. Now, before we get started here, the CPI report came in this morning, and actually, you know, when you look at the face value of it, it looked like it was pretty good year over year and even month over month. However, you have to take a really good close look at it. Now, when you look at food held steady, but airfares, used cars, and any kind of a shelter, if you're looking at apartments, home, anything, that went up significantly. Okay, so just remember that when you put tariffs on, nothing is instant. Okay, it's always 2, 3, 4 months, even a quarter, 2 quarters down the road kind of a situation. Okay, so that's what you have to look at. Now, egg price held steady, beef went up sky high, coffee went up sky high. Okay, so you have to look at everything that what we're looking at. Another thing is say like auto insurance was rising, used vehicles, housing, restaurants, meals, medical care. You know, all that kind of stuff is going higher. So, you know, don't ever take a look at and say, oh, yeah, there's no inflation. So when you look at these numbers, you have to really, really read through them to see exactly what that's in there. So now we have the CPI coming, or PPI coming out this week. So just look at that, and that's your producer price index. So we have to see exactly how that is and how, you know, the actual businesses are actually buying this stuff for and what the inflation is on that. Okay. So again, when you're trading, okay, consistent money in your pocket. Like today was a really good trade. You had it rallied up and then it pulled back. You know what I'm saying? So I made so many trades today that, man, my head is just spinning here. But a lot of stuff is rolling up nicely, like your Meta, your Microsoft, your Apple, Netflix, and Google, and Tesla came right on off there. I stayed out of Tesla today, and now even now the old Bitcoin is starting to rally up here, nice. But again, remember, this is a trader's market, so just remember that. Okay. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin. Now, you can see yesterday we had this huge candlestick, that topping tail kind of a situation. Now, today we put in a lower low. We put in at 118,600. We looked at the top of this candle at 118,405. Okay, so we have 118,600, and you have 116,295. So we still have a gap going on there. Okay, so always look at that gap. Okay, and then what we'll do is we're watching at 117,770. There's your 21-day, and then we have your 8-day below that situation. Now, if we lose that, we'll come to the bottom of the candle. Okay, you're looking at 116,295. And then what are we looking at here? Let me see here what we have here. Let's see, 2680. And then we have 118, 118,600, and then we have 118,405. Okay, so what we're looking at next, and then we come at, if we lose that 8 days, 116,295 level, then we'll come to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 114,685. We come to the bottom there, 114,300, and then we have 113,860, and then we're going to have that retest 113,45, which is basically the bottom of that candle. Then we have the old 50-day. But right now we're holding above the 21-day and the 8-day, and that's very, very good. Today was a really good scalping day on the BITX. It got as low as, let me see what it got as low as 63.05. And now you're sitting at 64.16. So that was an easy point on the BITX today. A lot of really good trading, but again, you have to stay very sharp, and obviously you got to stay by your computer. Now, one of my favorite trades today was the TQQQs, got as low as 91.13. Looks like it was falling off the map, and now she's sitting right back at 94.48. So looking very, very good. Okay, so what we're looking here on the upside is we're looking at this 126.80 level. Okay, so then what we do is we get above that. Then we're going to look at the top of this candle right here at 122.55. And then we'll look at yesterday's high at 122.955 and then 123.615. That is going to be your breakout. Now, again, we got to see how this all shakes out because we have a topping tail, sticky up here. However, you know what I'm saying? If we can just rally up here and get above that, then we can easily go higher. Now, you're sitting at RSI here. You're only sitting at 60. You got plenty of room to run. The green is below your red, but if that curls up, this can go much, much higher. Now, here for the weekly chart, Land, as long as we're holding this 8-day, you can see how nice that 8-day rally crossed that 21-day, and now she's going right on up. But look how nice that's supporting everything. Okay, did it come down lower? Yes, but where did it close? Above that 8-day. Look at this, okay? Very, very nice. So that's going to be key on the closing basis at 534. And then if we lose that, you can come down to this 112,345. These are all your key levels, 110, 150. And then we have that 108,960 on your weekly chart. And obviously we'll hit for the 21-day at 104,350. But right now you can see the strength on a weekly chart. The green is over your red, looking very, very bullish. So let's just see how this is all going to shake out. So bottom line, watch that 21-day and that 8-day. Very, very key. And then watch today's candle when those futures open, that high 126.80 and that low 118.600. But really, really good scalping. Now, I haven't been taking any scalps on the short side because anytime this is, even though we had the consolidation, it came right on down. It didn't really sell off because you notice it held that 50-day like we had in the past. So always respect that. So I've been just scalping this on the long side, been working out very, very nicely. Now, remember, BITX also pays a dividend. You want to be in there before the 27th of the month. But the beauty of BITX is it pays about 11% dividend, but it pays it breaks it up and it pays it monthly. So you're going to be getting about 62 cents a share. Okay, so this ought to be looking pretty good. I've been holding 3,000 shares and then trading 2,000 shares. So this has been working out very, very nicely on the trading and on the dividend side. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. Okay, here we have the gold and then we have the silver. Okay, so gold, you can see where we had that topping tail. Okay, so anytime you see that topping tail, let me just show you here in the past. Okay, there's the other one. See that topping tail? Came right on down and then we just sold right on off. See, now we have this other topping tail, sold right down, but you notice that it's holding the support levels. Okay, so it came right down. Went down to the 21-day, came all the way down to the 50-day, but now we're back onto that up to that 21-day. So this is what you want to watch on a closing basis at that 33.88. There's your 21-day, and then we want to watch that 33.73. That's going to be very, very key on a closing basis. If we lose that, okay, that's to say, if we start losing that, then we can follow the candles down. You're looking at 33.31 level, 33.24. We have 33.19, and then we're going to have that retest down there at 33.04. I mean, what do we have there? 33.04 is your 100-day, and then we have 3300 flat, which is basically just the bottom of that candle. So right there is going to be a key, but that's only if you lose the 21-day and the 50-day. Now, upside, we want to watch today's high, 34.10. Right now, we have what they call an indecision candle. If we get above that, we're looking for that 34.30. That's that 8-day. And then what we can do is we can look at the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 34.45, and then we look at yesterday's high, 34.66 level, and then we can rally up there. We have 34.68. 34.76, but then we want to always go to the left here because this was the topping tail at that 35.09, and then we have your retest at 35.34. Now, the T-Man came out and says there's not going to be any tariffs on gold or silver or anything on that order. So, just take that right out of the picture. That's why we had that big rally, and then it just topped out and then came right on down again. So there's not going to be any tariffs like on gold. I didn't think that sounded awful crazy to me. But anyway, okay, we have this RSI. You're sitting at 51. You got plenty of room to run. The green here is sideways, but the momentum is still above. So let's just see if we can rally back up to that 8-day. So bottom line, you're watching that 8-day on the upside, the 21-day and the 50-day on the downside. That is going to be like a ping pong situation. Now, here we have silver. Now, silver, you can see here we had that negative divergence, okay? Sell and then sell when you get that. Now, we put this indecision candle here last Friday. Yesterday, we had that big red candle when they announced that, there is not going to be no tariffs on this, and silver came down the same way. Now, today we're trying to rally, but we're hanging right around that 37.86. That's that 8-day. Now, if we get above it, this is going to be your target, that 38.21, and then we have to see what the reaction is, once it gets there. Does it break above it, or does it just hit it and bounce back again? Okay, if we can get above that, we'll come to the top of that candle, 38.56, 38.76, and then we'll be looking on top of Friday's high at that 38.87, which lines up very, very nicely here with the 38.82 level. We get above that, we just follow the candles. You got 39.02 level, then we come up there, 39.52, 39.66, and your retest at 39.91. You crack that, 40, 42, and then 45. Okay, very, very easy. Now, downside, well, we want to watch today's low. Okay, so you're looking at 37.51, and then we want to watch that 50-day. It's going to be very, very crucial. 37.21 down. Respect the 50-day because it held. Look how nice it held. So doesn't mean it's not going to hold again. If that's lost, we'll come to the bottom of that candle. Look at 37.76. We can have 36.40, and then we'll come right here at 36.28. That is going to be your retest. Okay. So right now here, we're just trading this range until we're either going to break up or we're going to break down. We lose that 50-day. You got a nice target there at 36.28 level. We crack above this 8-day and we crack above that 21-day. Well, we just follow the candles up until we have a nice good target at 39.91. RSI, you're sitting at 51. That's right in the center. You can go much, much higher, or you could go lower. We have to see. Now, again, it's never curled up. That momentum never got up, came right on down. So we got to see if this is all going to shake out. But right now, these are basically trades. Now, I traded GLD for the gold, SLV for the silver, but I'm not really what you call a big gold or silver trader, but I do take it. And once we start getting these run kind of a situations, then that's when I jump in. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil and natural gas. Okay, here we have the old crude oil. Now you can see here, we have another big red candle. We have a sideways action. Okay, but again, we're holding. Now remember, the API report will be out today at 4:30. So what we want to watch is this 62.77. That's going to be very, very critical on a closing basis, and that's just that bottom of that candle. Now, that's lost. You're going to come right down to the bottom, 62.50, and then we have 62.17. That's going to be your next level of support. Then we'll come to the top of that candle, 61.72. The bottom there, 61.06. The bottom there, 60.55, and then we have that 59.74 level. That would be your target. Okay. Now, if we just keep right on falling right off the old map there at that 59 level, well, then what we do is we come right down here. We got all the way down here at that 57.74 level. We come down to 57.03, and we have 55.30 and 55.12. We lose that, you're going to go 53, 50, 47, and you can come all the way down to 43 level. Now, T-Man's got the meeting with Putin in Alaska over the weekend. They want to end that Ukraine war. But again, remember, negotiation, everybody's going to have to give a little bit. So T-Man doesn't want anybody to buy oil from Russia. That will change, and oil will be flowing back out of Russia. Everybody will be buying again. Saudi Arabia is buying, all the OPEC is pumping up oil. So again, you got a very, very well supplied market here. So just remember that, okay? So it's going to take some kind of a catalyst to get this bad boy higher. Now, hurricane season is in play. There is a hurricane that is building, but we got to see how that's all going to shake out here over time. Okay. Now, if there's no catalyst, it's going to go lower. But what I don't like about this is why I'm short is right here is this 8-day cross the 50-day, 21-day, 100-day, and that's going to provide very, very strong resistance. So what we want to watch now is that 64.66, very, very critical. Then we have that 64.89. Then we have 66.10, your 21-day. Then we have your 50-day, 66.75, and then we have 67.80, which is your 200-day. Then you can work yourself all the way up here. You can look at the bottom of that candle, 68.56, and then we look at the top of that candle at 69.58. Then we have your retest at 70.51. But right now, this is going to provide very, very strong resistance. See, just look at the past, how that strong resistance couldn't get through. Okay, same way here. Like you look at the Natgas. Okay, once you're below that 8-day, you're fighting it the whole way. Okay, so that's what's going to happen here. So right now, just key level is at 62.77 on the downside, and that 8-day 64.67 on the upside. We got to see which one's going to win. Now, RSI, you're sitting at 39. That's not overbought or oversold. That can go much lower. Same way with the green. This can go much lower. I just think oil is going to be going down into the 50 mark unless there's some kind of a catalyst that'll take it up. Okay, disruption. Okay, so you have to shut down some rigs. You have to do this. You have to do that. Or you have a war situation that's going to keep on trending. Then that will take crude oil back up. But right now, I mean, with this oversupplied market, I think crude is looking pretty good, bearish. Now, natty gas, I've been pointing out here, this 8-day. Now, we have this, what, 100-day, 50-day, 21-day, 8-day. Everything is a complete waterfall. There's nothing bullish about this chart. Topping tail, always watch those topping tails, high, lower high, lower high, lower high, downtrending chart. Now let's just see where we're going to be going. So today we made this low of 2.79. We were looking for this level at that 2.85. You can see we are below it. Now I have it all posted for you at the end of the video, so don't even worry about it, if you don't catch it right now. Okay, so you're looking at 277 level. Now your next level is going to be right down here. You got 268. You come down to the bottom there, you got 265 level. We could come down to the bottom there. You're looking at 251, and then we have 246 a level. We come down to the bottom of this candle here, and you're looking at 237, and then we have 244, and then we come down here to your 226, and then all the way down here to your 221 level. Now, again, you look at this chart, this is not oversold here yet. You're sitting at 33. That's got a ways to go. It's the same way with the OMACD. So this is not done, but there's nothing bullish about this. I scalped the KOLD today, and just a beautiful trade. It got as low as 34.62 and as high as 36.70. I am ready out of the trade. Okay, I am out of the I'm out of the trade. I didn't get the full, couple bucks there, but I got $1.50 out of there. Out of the OKLD, and I'm trading 5,000 shares. So this was a really, really good trading day in the natural gas. Now, there's so much there to trade. I could only do just so much. That's why I didn't scalp anything with the gold or the silver. But again, I like the natural gas and the oil and the tech sector, I think, is just, and Bitcoin, obviously. That's all really, really good trading there today. So we're going to see how the market is going to close. But right now, natty gas here looking ugly. Crude oil looking ugly. So we got to see how that all shakes out. Okay, let's take a look here now at the indexes. Okay, here we have the Dow, S&P, and the Nasdaq. Now you can see the only one that isn't breaking out, S&P is breaking out, Nasdaq's breaking out, but the Dow is not breaking out. Now we had this negative divergence, okay, and it sold right on off. But you notice that it held that 50-day on the closing. Now this is sideways action. Now what we're really watching on the close today is 44,344. Okay, that's going to be key. Now we made a high today of 44,497. What we're looking for is 44,498. Okay, see this? 97. Okay, 98. Okay, so we got to see that is your resistance levels on the Dow. Okay, so always just look to the left of the chart. Maybe I can pick that up for you. It could be a little easier. See how easy that is? All you got to do is look to the left of the chart. That's going to be your resistance. So that's where we are right now. So if we get above all that, well, then we can come to the bottom of that candle, 44,580, 568. We come to the top there at 44,665 and work your way up, 44,739, 44,883, and then we have 44,946, and then we have that 45,16. That's going to be your big retest. Okay. Now, always look to the left of the chart here. This is also going to be in play, 44,885. Okay. Now, on the downside, you want to watch that 21-day. Very, very key. If that is lost, we come down to the top of this candle. You're looking at 44,273, and then we can look at that 8-day. See, 44,79, and then we just follow the candles all the way down here till we have that 50-day. Now, we lose that. We have the 200-day down here, and we also have this gap. Okay, you're sitting at 42,794, and then we look at the top, 42,609. But this is the market that just not giving up the ghost. But again, for me, as I say, this is a trader's market. Okay, because right now this morning, okay, the market was down, and then as soon as that report came out, it rallied up higher. But then you notice that it sold back down again. Okay, and then that was the good buying opportunity. That's the trade. Okay, that's the trade. It's not like a buy and hold situation. Now, this market is just melting up. Okay, we look at the old S&P. Now we're above. We need to close above that 64.27. We got as high as 64.44. We could take this all the way to 6,500. Very, very easy. 6,500. Very easy on the target situation. On the downside, just watch that 8-day, that 21-day. Okay, we have the retest, the 50-day, and then we have this gap. Okay, look at the bottom, 6,059. And then we look at the top, 6,028. Then we have your 200-day and 100-day. Now, right now we have this negative divergence. So just be careful. See where we have a high, and now we have a higher high situation. Okay, but we got a lower high here. See? So eventually this is going to last. I know I've been saying this for a while, but the reason I'm telling you this, and I'm telling you this, is so that you use stop losses when you trade. You make money. Don't worry about that buying that bottom. Don't worry about selling that top. Take that meat in the middle. That's what a trader does. Consistent money. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Comes to Friday, you're going to say, holy shnikes, look how much money I got here. Because I put the money in my pocket. I listened to Irontrader. Put it in your pocket. That's the key to trading. If the market falls out, what do you give a shit? You got money in your pocket. You can buy down lower. That's the name of the game. Okay, so today on the close, watch that 42.27. Obviously, we're going to have that 64.44. We crack above that, you can go to that 6,500 very, very easily. But watch this negative divergence. Now, Okay, we have the Nasdaq. Same thing. See, negative divergence going on here. High, higher high, high, lower high. Okay, so just watch it. Now, again, you're sitting at 21,670. I've been saving this. You could go to 22,000. Very, very easy. But again, trade this. Take the money in your pocket. We don't know what the PPI number is going to be. We don't know what Powell's going to be. Any kind of a reaction can zap this down just like it did last week, okay, when he put tariffs on, all of a sudden he put tariffs on Canada, okay? So anything can take it down. That's what it did. Boom. Okay, that's what it did. Boom. Then that, okay, you can always buy it back up. So what we're watching here is you're going to be watching at 21,543, and then we can watch these candles. But realistically, as long as we're above this 8-day, 21,190, and while above that 21-day, we're doing good. Okay, next level, just bring that price chart, 2507, and then we 50-day, 2405, and then we have that gap, that fill, 200-day and 100-day. But again, watch that negative divergence that's going on these charts. Okay, so just always look at it. A lot of times they say it's not going to happen today, but eventually it does happen. So always remember, and we're coming into that 6-week period, end of August, September, October period, that could be very, very reckoning. So just remember that you don't want to be stuck on top when you can say, wow, I got all my cash. I wait for this pullback, then I can buy and I can rally it up into the end of the year, kind of a situation. Okay, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here tomorrow morning and we're going to do it all over again. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.